On this episode, we're going to be talking all about comms. How do you communicate with people on a trail? We're going to cover CB radio, GMRS radio, FRS radio, and ham radio. Stay tuned, and I'll give you my tips of all of these. How to pick the right communication device for you. Welcome to Wicked Jeeps and 1870 Off-Road. We will put this one on both channels. We're going to talk about communications. Number one rule for communications when you're out on the trail, no matter what, no matter who you're riding with, is to have what everybody around you has. And there's no point in having the best radio money can buy if there's nobody on the other side that can hear you. So you need to know who you're going to ride with, what group you have, what they use, have the same thing they use. That's my number one rule of communications.
Channel mode.
GMRS. If you're riding with Wicked Jeeps, if you're riding with 1870 Off-Road, this is what we use. Come on with me. I keep mine mounted right here. I also have another remote handheld that I carry with me. So if I'm getting out of the Jeep, if I have to get out and spot because I'm going down a trail, sometimes I got somebody with me, I need to give them one because they didn't bring one with them, I give them a loaner. I always carry GMRS. These are my favorite. They're really good to hear. They're very affordable. These are $25 to $35 a piece. If you find them on Amazon, it is the way to go. It's what most everybody on Wicked Jeeps uses now. One thing with GMRS that you got to know is you need a license to operate these. Sort of. I'll fill you in more there. So yes, you need a license to use GMRS. Except only one person in the group has to have a license. The way GMRS works, it's like a family deal. As long as one person in the group has a GMRS license, everybody in the group is able to operate under that person's license. So if you're riding with Wicked Jeeps or 1870 Off-Road, I myself have a GMRS license. Several people in Wicked Jeeps have a GMRS license. So this is why we use this. We're always covered. It is a lot easier to hear and transmit and use these than, say, other options we're going to cover in a minute. If you don't, or nobody else in your group has a GMRS license, it's very easy to get. You go to FCC, you can buy the license there, much like buying a hunting or a fishing license. You don't have to have any requirements or anything to get it. You just got to go in, check the boxes, fill it out, pay the tax, and you get the license. Unlike some of the other options we're going to cover now. Civilian band. The biggest disappointment of my life when it comes to communications is the CB radio. If you're like me, you were born in the 80s, you watched Smokey and the Bandit growing up your whole life, you thought this was the coolest thing in the world. When I was a kid, my grandfather had a CB radio in his Jeep. My dad had a CB radio in his C10 Chevy truck. Everybody had CB radios. My grandfather had one in his Silverado truck. That's just what everybody had. It was the way to go. I could not wait till I finally had me a CB radio. I've wanted one for years. So in 2021, the first mod I did to my Jeep was the CB radio. I'd ordered everything. I was so excited. I get it. And as you can see right now, I'm on channel 19. I got the squelch all the way up. There's nobody on it. Nobody on 20. Nobody on 22. There is nobody on CB radio. This is they're outdated because better stuff has come out. I don't recommend CB radio for that reason. We used to use it on Wicked Jeeps, but over the past, I'll be honest with you, I don't think I've used it with the Wicked Jeeps in a year and a half. It's the last time anybody on Wicked Jeeps used it. We were always on channel 33 when we did. So personally, I'm probably going to be removing mine from my Jeep. So to wrap it up, I would not personally recommend CB radio. Even though it does not require any license and all you gotta do is buy the radio and you're able to use it, I personally would not recommend it because nobody uses it anymore. FRS radios, also known as walkie-talkies. Another option that is free simple, cheap, and also does not require a license, much like the CB radio, is FRS radio. These are, some people call them bubble packs. You can go to Walmart, you can go to Bass Pro Shops, wherever you buy your stuff at, you can go there and they sell these handheld radios, walkie-talkies like we used to call them back in the day. They work great. Essentially, they are an underpowered GMRS radio. The difference is with these, they only have half a watt of power. GMRS uses 5 watts of power. So if you decide to buy the FRS radio, just know your range is extremely limited, but you don't have to have a license. Everybody in your group can have them. The benefit to these, however, is that they are on the exact same frequency as a GMRS. So in channel 18, we'll put this on 18 right here on the top. Yeah, there you go. Now that you had to hear all that static. The benefit of an FRS, that took me a lot of time to show you, is that it is the same frequency as GMRS. It's just got a lot less wattage. An example of this would be when we did the trip through the North Georgia mountains back in January of 2023. We did Old Bucktown Road, Caches Valley, and we explored the Cohutta, stuff like that. There were people in our group on FRS. Once your group got spread out on the road, you could not hear the front and back of the group if you're on FRS. GMRS, you can. Range is just very limited. Line of sight, maybe a couple hundred yards is all you're really going to get out of these. You can get up to a mile or two with these. So I highly recommend GMRS over that. Ham radio. Finally, we say the best for last. This is the Cadillac of communications. The ham radio. This is the best thing money can buy when it comes to using communications. Unlimited range. You can mod these out. Tons of options. These, the best clarity, everything you'll ever get is with ham radio. However, ham has a downside. You have to have a license to talk on ham radio. Anybody can listen, but in order to transmit on ham radio, you must have a ham radio license. You cannot just go buy the ham radio license. You have to test. And then on top of that, the person you are talking to, technically, is supposed to have and pass the test to have a ham license. Now, of course, that's not your problem. If they're breaking the law, that's their problem. But because of this, at least here in where Wicked Jeeps rides here in Georgia, not a lot of people are using ham. I think when I see ham radio users, it seems to be more out west where there's a lot more sparsely populated areas. That's where ham kicks in. You can bounce off repeaters, just like you can on GMRS. Ham has a lot more range, a lot more power, a lot more customization. So I think that's why you see so many people using ham out west. Here in Georgia, everybody's on GMRS. I don't know anybody uses ham here. That being said, let's cover the similarities between ham and GMRS. So GMRS is kind of like if ham radio and CB radio had a love child. That would be GMRS. It's simple, easy to use. However, it has a lot of benefits of ham as far as being digital, tunable, all that stuff. And you'll notice these are actually the exact same radios. With Baofeng, they basically pre-programmed an old ham radio so that it only operates on GMRS. Thing with ham, you can customize it. You can change antennas. As you can see right here, the antenna comes apart and it comes off. You can customize different antennas. With GMRS, you cannot do that. It is not moddable. It is securely locked in with this Allen key that cannot be removed except with an Allen wrench and then change the antenna, because that is an FCC no-no. So Baofeng locked them in with an Allen key so that you can't remove them. Otherwise, function. All right, we are back from my battery tragically dying while discussing ham and GMRS radios. Here, the UV5X compared to UV5R. This is ham radio, fully capable. This is GMRS only. It has been digitally locked out by Baofeng so that it will only transmit on GMRS stations. You can, however, receive anything and monitor anything on ham radio just by typing in the code. And tell you what, let's make a summary. So to summarize, no matter what you're going to use, CB radio, free, no license to operate. I say free, I mean you got to buy the radio. But to operate this, no license required, no fees required. To operate FRS, these are your standard walkie-talkies you buy at any store. To operate either one of these requires no license, no special taxes you got to pay, nothing. You just buy the radio, turn it on, and talk. To operate these two, you need a special license, GMRS and ham. Ham, you have to take a test and pass the test in order to get your ham license. GMRS, you just basically, it's like buying a fishing license. You pay the tax and you have a GMRS license. Ham, only a person with a ham license may talk on the ham radio. With GMRS, anybody on your group can talk on the radio as long as one person has the GMRS license. If you find yourself on a trail ride and you're with 1870 Off-Road, or you are with Wicked Jeeps, we are going to be using GMRS. Typically channel 18, sometimes channel 22. But no matter who you're with, if you're with another group, again, as I say when I open this video, find what they use what they use. Even if you buy the best radio money can buy, which is ham, if there's nobody else in your group using ham, this radio is useless. You know, if you go buy a CB and nobody uses CB, it's useless. That's what I did. I bought a CB, turned on my CB. I've had it running the entire time, and nobody has said a word yet because nobody ever does. I don't think anybody that I know of uses CB. Even the truckers barely use CB anymore. We use GMRS. That's the way to go. So if you want to buy one, again, $25 to $35 on Amazon. They're really simple to buy. They're really simple to operate. And like I say, if you want to pay the fee, I think it's $35 for the license. It's good for 10 years. It was $70 when I did mine. So now they went down. It's a lot cheaper. Just, I tell you, promise you, if anybody on your area is using GMRS, go GMRS. You won't regret it. The only reason why you would regret using this is if nobody else is using it. But again, Wicked Jeeps, 1870 Off-Road, we are GMRS only.